Hi Pisces, welcome to a message for you for right now, also for August, but we're kind of almost done with August. But hopefully this resonates for you right now, offers confirmation or support or encouragement or validation or perspective. Everything else you need to know about this reading is in the description box below. If this is about you and another person, this could resonate with their or your moon, rising, or Venus sign. Was the Empress, I believe. It was going to jump. All right. Pisces. All right. What's a message for Pisces? Three of Cups. Five of Pentacles. The Devil. It could be Capricorn. 10 of Wands. 8 of Cups. Let's see. Do like this. Temperance, that could be Sagittarius. All right. Okay. There you are. Oops. All right. Are you worried that this is all it's going to be, is how it is now? Or that the bottom's going to fall out here? What's this Five of Pentacles about for Pisces? Two of Cups. Yeah. You're worried is like, well, is this as good as it gets? For the Pisces I'm reading for, you're worried that perhaps without connection that you're worried it's not going to happen again, or that you're just wondering if there's... I don't know. Some of you might like it though. I think this is where, honestly though, this is, are you worried about not being worried about it? Because it feels like this is where you should be right now. But maybe you feel stuck. There's a disconnect here that it's not, you're curious about like, well, is this all it's going to be though? Like, I don't want anybody right now, but is it always going to be like this? What is Devil about for Pisces? Ace of Swords. That's right. Don't you forget it. That's probably why you're reluctant to get into a relationship again, because you don't want the big bad to happen, and you feel like you need to stay ever vigilant and analyze everything and be very sort of piercing with your observations and your analysis of things, because you don't want this to take hold. So it could be your detriment that you're kind of analyzing everything to filth, and then it keeps you from having to connect, but then at times it can feel very disconnected because of that. And you're wondering perhaps if there's a happy medium somewhere. What's this 10 of Wands here for Pisces? High Priestess, that could be Pisces or Cancerian. Good. So you know it's purposeful at least. This 8 of Cups here. This 8 of Cups. 4 of Swords. All right. You need to set down your load. And it's funny because it feels like you're very independent, and there's a real strong streak. So you don't mind hard work, but you're doing it to avoid avoid connection. And instead of, it's almost like it's to the point where it might be cutting off your intuition. You'd rather the logic and the protection rather than the intuition, and kind of to have a knowing or a feeling about something, which is typically your way. It's just that when it comes to connection with it's like you don't want to feel right now. For the Pisces I'm reading for, you don't want to feel. You don't even want an inkling of anything. You don't want to be curious. Only if it's on your terms. You don't want anybody to make you curious. You don't mind feeling curious if you're curious, but you don't want to meet someone and feel curious. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't want to be affected by others. There's a real aversion to connection, and yet there's curiosity about it until there isn't. It feels like you, that's probably why. That's probably why the certain part of your life is real strong and you're secure, But there's the other part that feels really empty, and it's because there's this load that you're carrying that you could probably set down, but maybe you're afraid if you set it down, you'll start to have time and space to think about this or to think of, and you're like, this is everything being on your terms right now. Everything needs to be on your terms. That's the way it feels, and you need a break. It's almost like you need to abandon your post and get to where you just kind of, you need to set down the load here. You need to set down the load. I know you think it's purposeful, but it's too much of it. You're using it against yourself. You're creating this huge load to keep you from connecting to other. And it's keeping you disconnected, which is fine if it's on your terms, but it's almost like you've seen something you want recently and you've realized how insulated you are. And make no mistake, just as much as you're keeping everybody at bay and you're doing the analysis paralysis to shut things down, you can do that in relationship also. That doesn't go away just because somebody makes your stomach flutter. You know what I mean? So you've got that assertive streak. For the Pisces I'm reading for, don't think that you're going to turn into silly putty just because you meet somebody that, might have potential. You don't have to give that up just because you met somebody or just because you want something. Doesn't mean you're any less protected. More vulnerable maybe, but not any less protected. You need to set that load down. It's becoming time. It's almost like something's waiting in the wings to connect with you. It's like you're shutting off that part of yourself, and it's coming to the fore, whether you like it or not. It's coming to a head, the turning point here, and you need to take a break. If you don't, you will be forced to take a break. Honestly, like you're just going to run yourself into the ground here. So you need a break, and you need to let this talk to you because you've been kind of shutting this off. You've been disconnected from that part of yourself, and that could be what this is here. That you've been single for so long, or you've preferred to be for so long that you kind of cut that part of yourself also off. The desire for connection, that's even cut off. The connection with other, the connection with self. What's this temperance about for Pisces? Page of Swords again. Look at this. Sword, sword, sword. Page of Swords. So, good. All right. So maybe dial this back, this sort of pursuit, relentless pursuit of truth. And nobody's going to get one over on me because you're afraid of the big bad coming to the fore. You can handle it. You always have before. You always will. Maybe dial it back a little bit. Lighten the load here. Just kind of ease off of what you've been doing. It's still going to be there for you tomorrow. And spend some time getting back in touch with you. And that'll kind of bridge that gap right here, the disconnect that you feel. It's fine if it's voluntary, but it feels like it's starting to feel kind of heavy and more than you bargained for. It's like protective, and you're starting to cut yourself off in the process. So this is about needing to reclaim yourself, setting down the load. And if you're feeling like you need to protect yourself from others so much, this is about limiting exposure to others also. So if there's a certain group or something that you need to walk away from and take a break, do it. But if you're doing that in general, that needs to be foregone. You need to walk away from the complete abandonment of other because it's making you disconnect from yourself. So if it's just a group of friends that are kind of like, oh, they're kind of toxic, you're like, okay, I see it for what it is. I'm not going to hang out with them anymore. I'm a little worried that I might be by myself for a while, but it's better than being around that mess. Okay. But if this is everything and everyone all the time, it's starting to cut you off from yourself. And it is simply too much. And you need that needs to be abandoned and walked away from here. But it needs to be brought into perspective. And any sort of distancing from anything needs to be purposeful, not just like everybody stay back. Well, why? Maybe that one's okay. Maybe that one's okay, but not these three. Okay, you stay back, but you two can come in. You've cut off everything. And you need to, and in the process, somehow you partitioned yourself. So this is about reclaiming. It begins with you. And this is about reclaiming that part of yourself. You need to spend some time reconnecting with yourself and lightening the load. Meditation, walks, being out in nature, quiet time just for you. purposeful quiet time, meditation, communing. Okay, so Temperance and Page of Swords. I think that's about putting this sort of into perspective and dialing this Page of Swords, or Ace of Swords back to just sort of this observant, watchful energy, but not this guarded, come any closer and I'm gonna just, slice to pieces here. Dialing it all back, getting some perspective again. You've been kind of going whole hog towards something. You need to lighten the load lest you cut yourself off too, and you don't want to do that. Or maybe you have, and it's time to not anymore. It served its purpose, but now it's time to set that whole defensive down and go within and listen. You've got yourself protected. You've got everything you need. You're safe. But so now maybe you can not be so guarded and listen. All right. All right. What else for? Oh, that got me a little. The whole you're protected and you're safe. You poor thing. I know there's purpose behind that. I know there's I'm not discounting that. It feels like you're starting to divorce yourself from yourself, and that's pretty empty. I don't want you to lose that. What else for Pisces? Communication, yes. Communication. And that's the first step to, it's almost like interviewing yourself and being like, well, how you doing? Yeah, morning. Kind of doing the whole where you talk to yourself and you start to find out what's really going on, and it begins with you. Everything begins with you, and then you can branch out into, feeling connected with yourself, and then you can start to reach out again to others. But this is about communicating with you. Interviewing you instead of just work, defend. I'm in my perch, I'm happy. Yes, you're protected, you're safe. How are you feeling? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does. What else for Pisces? I don't like you sitting there all by yourself. It's one thing, it's like, finally some quiet time to myself, but it feels different, and it feels like you need to open the door back up again. Okay, shutting up. All right. Five of Gabriel, Five of Wands. A challenge you can resolve. Withdraw, oh good gracious. Withdraw from others. Withdraw from the drama of others. So that's what you've been doing, right? And I think this is about what you've been doing, and it's time to come out of that and start to communicate with yourself. I'm not saying go confront people that are toxic and abusive, no, but you cut everybody off just save for one group of people, and that's cutting you off from yourself too. Now, have patience with yourself and those around you. Well, maybe you're just a persnickety little thing and you have no tolerance. Well, you need to work on that too. This is you cutting yourself off from everything, and it's becoming too heavy of a load to bear, and you need to lighten up. You need some balance and perspective, and you need to, it begins with you, and then reach out to your tribe. It's purposeful why you did it, but you need to lighten up a little bit with it. It doesn't have to be so severe. You're safe. So now you can begin to look at why you felt like you needed to do, or why you are where you're at. And spend some time communing with yourself. That's the first step. Right. What else for Pisces? Two of Wands, and if it was upright, it would, oh gracious, now I gotta see if it was upright. And this is Temperance on its side. So let me see Two of Wands here. Okay, where did we go here? Two of Wands. I'm looking at Cups. What am I looking at Cups for? Two of Wands on its side, because if it was upright, it would be like this. So it's like it's on its side, Two of Wands, and then that's Temperance on its side also. So is this indecision? There's just, it's like you're so heavy over here And there's just a void over here. And this speaks to imbalance. This speaks to needing some perspective. And that's okay. That's all it is. It's just, there's no judgment here. Like, oh, you need to get... Yeah, you do. So what? Everybody does. This is just a wake-up call. It's all it is. So this is about delays, feeling overwhelmed, indecision, stop-start, frustration, and things being really out of whack, and you feel out of whack. And there's just a lot going on, and there needs to be time for stillness and for you. And if you can find a way, please consider lightening the load. It just feels like you're kind of just going and doing, and that's it. And there needs to be you built back in your daily schedule, please. It starts with you. Please lighten the load. The worst is over. You're safe now. You need to reconnect with your tribe. Okay. I'm going to stop here because I'm going to start crying if I keep talking. That breaks my heart, Pisces. That breaks my heart. Okay. Hope to see you in the next reading, and thank you for stopping by, and please be kind to yourself. You've got your tribe. Reach out to them, please. All right, much love to you. You take care.